In 1922, a perfectly healthy man walked into an Egyptian tomb. He touched a wall. He breathed the air. 1 week later, he was dead. His death wasn't an accident. He died from a sudden infection in the exact same spot on his cheek, where the mummy he disturbed had a scar. We are taught that curses are just fairy tales for children. We are told that objects, stones, metal, wood, cannot hate you. They cannot hunt you. But if that is true, then why do some artifacts set off Geiger counters? Why do some jewels contain toxic isotopes that don't exist in nature? We are not talking about ghosts. We are talking about ancient biological warfare. We are talking about stones that carry frequencies that drive the human brain into madness. Locked inside the world's most secure vaults are objects that have killed every single person who has ever owned them. Tonight, we break the seal. From the diamond that glows blood red to the tomb of liquid mercury. These are the 7 cursed objects that scientists can't explain. Number 7. The gem locked in 7 boxes. In 1857, during the Indian Mutiny, a British soldier looted a large purple amethyst from the Temple of Indra in Kanpur. He brought it back to England, thinking he had found a fortune. Instead, he found ruin. He lost his health, his money, and eventually his life. The stone was passed to a scientist and writer named Edward Heron Allen. He was a rational man. He did not believe in magic. But after possessing the stone, he began to experience a string of impossible misfortunes. Friends died. His house caught fire. He began to see a Hindu yogi haunting him in his dreams. Terrified, Heron Allen did something no scientist should do. He took the stone and threw it into a canal, hoping to be rid of it. 3 months later, it came back. A dredger found it, and, knowing Heron Allen was the owner, returned it to him. Convinced the object was evil, he packed it inside 7 boxes, surrounded it with lucky charms, and deposited it in the bank with strict instructions. Do not open until 33 years after my death. Today, it sits in the Natural History Museum in London. The note he left with it reads, "Whoever opens this box, read this warning first, and then do as you please with the jewel. My advice to you is to cast it into the sea." Number 6. The River of Death. In 1974, farmers digging a well in China discovered the greatest archaeological find of the century, the Terracotta Army. Thousands of life-size soldiers guarding the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang. But while the soldiers have been excavated, the emperor's actual tomb remains sealed. No human has entered it for over 2,000 years. This is not just out of respect. It is out of fear. Ancient texts, written by the historian Sima Qian, claimed that the emperor's tomb was surrounded by rivers of flowing liquid mercury, designed to kill any grave robber who dared enter. For decades, archaeologists thought this was a myth. Mercury evaporates. It couldn't possibly still be there. But recently, scientists used ground-penetrating sensors to scan the soil around the tomb. The readings were off the charts. The soil contains levels of mercury that are 100 times higher than normal. The curse here is not magic. It is chemistry. The emperor created a localized toxic environment that is still lethal 2 millennia later. If we open that tomb today, the release of toxic gas would be catastrophic. The curse of the emperor is very real, and it is waiting for us to take a breath. Number 5. The real One Ring. In 1785, a farmer plowing a field in Hampshire, England, found a massive gold ring. It was crude, heavy, and inscribed with a strange Latin phrase, Silvianus, live in God. The farmer kept it, sold it, and the ring faded into obscurity. But decades later, archaeologists excavating a Roman temple 100 miles away found a lead curse tablet. It was a message to the god Nodens, written by a man named Silvianus. The tablet read, "Among those who bear the name of Silvianus, to none grant health until he brings back the ring to the Temple of Nodens. The ring was stolen property, and the original owner had placed a blood curse on anyone who wore it. In 1929, an Oxford professor was asked to translate the curse. He was stumped, so he called in a colleague, a professor of Anglo-Saxon history. That professor's name was J.R.R. Tolkien. A few years after holding this cursed gold band, Tolkien sat down and wrote The Hobbit. The Curse of Silvianus is not just a ghost story. It is the historical artifact that birthed the legend of Middle-earth. Number 4. The Passenger of the Titanic. In the British Museum, there is an artifact labeled 22,542. It is not a body, but a painted wooden mummy board, the lid of a coffin belonging to a high priestess of Amun-Ra. Since its discovery in the late 1800s, this object has been a magnet for ruin. The first 3 Englishmen who purchased it all died within months. When it arrived at the museum, night guards reported hearing frantic weeping and hammering coming from the case. One guard died on duty, another resigned in terror. But the legend gets darker. In 1912, the story goes that an American archaeologist purchased the mummy board to ship it to New York. He refused to trust it to a cargo ship. He wanted the safest, most unsinkable vessel ever built. He booked passage on the RMS Titanic. While official cargo manifests are debated, survivors of the Titanic reported that on the night of the sinking, the captain was behaving strangely, almost as if he was under a spell. Did an iceberg sink the ship? Or was Artifact 22,542 fulfilling its curse to destroy anyone who tried to take it from its home? Number 3. The Vase That Finds You. In the 15th century, a silver vase was made in Italy as a wedding gift for a young bride. On her wedding night, she was found dying on the floor, clutching the vase to her chest. The vase was passed down her family line. Every single person who inherited it died within months. Realizing the object was a conduit for death, the family packed it away with a warning note. Beware, this vase brings death. It disappeared for centuries until 1988, when it was dug up in a backyard. The note was still inside. The man who found it threw the note away and sold the vase to a pharmacist. 3 months later, the pharmacist was dead. It was sold to a surgeon. He died 2 months later at age 37. It was sold again to an archaeologist. He died 3 months later. Desperate, the final owner tried to throw the vase out of a window. It reportedly hit a policeman on the head, almost killing him. Today, the Basano vase is rumored to be buried in a lead coffin in an undisclosed location because no museum in the world was brave enough to accept it. Number 2. The Box of Whispers. In 2001, a furniture restorer named Kevin Mannis bought a plain wine cabinet at an estate sale. It belonged to a survivor of the Holocaust who had fled to Spain. Her family told him, "Never open it. A Dybbuk lives inside." Mannis laughed and took it home. That was his mistake. Within days, his mother suffered a stroke while staring at the box. Lights in his shop began to explode. A pest infestation of cockroaches swarmed the box and then vanished. But the most terrifying symptom was the dreams. Every person who slept in the house with the box reported the exact same nightmare, a hag-like creature beating them to death. Mannis gave the box away to friends. They all returned it within days, begging him to take it back. Finally, researchers analyzed the box. They found locks of hair, a dried rose, and a granite tablet with the Hebrew word shalom. It is currently sealed in a paranormal museum, where visitors are warned not to touch the glass, lest the entity attaches itself to them. And finally, number 1. The Dragon's Tail. Our final object is not cursed by magic. It is cursed by physics. During the Manhattan Project in the 1940s, scientists created a 14-pound sphere of plutonium. It was the heart of a nuclear bomb that was never dropped. They called it Rufus. But after it killed 2 of the world's smartest men, they renamed it the Demon Core. On August 21, 1945, physicist Harry Daghlian was running an experiment. He accidentally dropped a tungsten brick onto the core. A flash of blue light filled the room. He quickly knocked the brick away, but he knew it was too late. He had received a lethal dose of radiation. He died 25 days later in agony. 9 months later, another physicist, Louis Slotin, was testing the core. He was holding 2 beryllium half-spheres apart with just the tip of a screwdriver. His hand slipped. The spheres touched. The room flashed blue again. Slotin jerked his hand back and said calmly to his colleagues, "Well, that does it." He died 9 days later. The Demon Core was eventually melted down, but its legacy remains. It serves as a reminder that some objects in this world are not meant to be touched by human hands. Whether it is radiation, mercury, or something we simply do not have the language to describe, these objects prove that the line between science and the supernatural is thinner than we think. Which of these objects would you be brave enough to touch? Tell us in the comments, and join us in the next dossier, where we will be investigating the 7 lost cities that satellites just found. Subscribe to the Obsidian Archive. The truth is in here.